Thank you all for making it tonight. Welcome. Today we are going to, I just want to acknowledge your presence in the meeting today. And we are going to be, just take a few minutes just to review what we have spoken about over the last few days, especially what we introduced yesterday, the dPOS. We know that there are a lot of people who may have questions who could not ask it yesterday, and who have also tested, who have also tried the pause today, and may have some questions for clarification, and want to know a little bit more about how to use it in their environment. We had a conversation with some people as well in the course of the day, either as a team or individually, where people were asking all kinds of questions. And one of the questions that came to me was, what if the person who is paying you is not next to you? So that is the next tool that we are going to show you on account. It already exists on Transact, where you can send a payment request, and all the person needs to do is to complete what they need to complete and send it, and the payment is done. So we would spend some time on that possibly next week, but we don't want to inundate everyone with all these possibilities, these payment possibilities, until people, have used one and have practiced with the one and are quite conversant with the use and how to use it, before we can really go in and start introducing all the other bits and pieces related to payments. I hope that by the end of this evening, for those who have any doubts, who have any questions, your questions will be answered, and especially related to the things that we have presented over the last few days. So at the moment, just before while Dr. Linus is giving his opening remarks, for anyone who has a question, please raise your hand. And after Dr. Linus's remarks, we are going to go into it. Good evening, Dr. Linus.
Good evening, Brother B. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's session. We very much appreciate this engagement on a daily basis, as it provides an opportunity for us to learn from one another. We continue to gather as a community to address two problems: inclusive access for all and the use of a common instrument to exchange value wherever we are, so that we can enable and empower households to participate in the new modern digital economy using our open ecosystem, open distributed ecosystem, which enables individuals, institutions, kingdoms, governments to participate in and be able to execute real-time transactions. As Brother B highlighted, yesterday we talked about the digital POS. The significance of that is that it has the potential and the capacity to cut down costs. Costs in producing cards, costs in producing POS devices, so that as long as you already have a phone that you would normally use anyway for other transactions, or a tablet, that becomes your POS device. You don't need effectively to pay for another or rent another. It will also help in ensuring that the costs of actually producing cards and distributing those cards into every household can be minimized. Just imagine the logistics implication of getting a card into every household. So those are some of the challenges that we're seeking to address as a community. We need to find solutions that are fit for purpose for our community. And so on that note, thank you very much. I very much hope that today's session would provide yet another opportunity for us to get further clarification on some of those points, some of those advantages. If the community members feel there are any disadvantages or any issues of concern, we can highlight those and perhaps talk about how we can work around them. One of the points that is raised, of course, is what if somebody is not present with you? Well, there is a solution for that, and that is the invoice payment. So what you will do is you will simply generate an invoice and send that invoice to the person who has to pay. And all they have to do to make the payment is authorize the invoice, and the payment is done automatically. It is actually very safe, very secure. It is better than giving somebody your card details over the telephone. Easier, you send an invoice, they approve the invoice at their own device in a very secure environment and secure manner. So that is something we will come to, I would imagine, either in the days ahead. But for today, let's just take the opportunity to address any questions that may have arisen from the engagements that we've had in the last few days. Also, before we get into that, we know that people are struggling with getting around the idea of placing orders for the mailboxes online. The process where you pay with AKL from your Swiffen account is actually very smooth, it's very efficient, it works, and the team is doing every effort to process those transactions as quickly as possible, even though there is still a queue and a bit of waiting time. So don't be alarmed by the waiting time, just submit your order and it will be processed in due time. With respect to placing the order on Connect with a bank card, we've had toyed with the idea of making it possible that if you don't have a bank card, you can still pay completely with your AKX balance on account on Connect. But because of the discounting mechanism, it's proven to be a bit complicated in terms of the ease of use. So we're trying to change that and make it a little bit smoother. And once we establish a much smoother and simpler process, we will come back and talk about it in due time. So, Brother B, thank you very much. Over to you, and we can go straight into the Q&A for this evening.
Okay, thank you. I think the first person whose hand came up was Jude. Jude Akige.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Go ahead. Good evening. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Jude from Nigeria. Actually, only have question in the other thing I'll be talking about. It's not a question, but I will allow Emmanuel Newton to talk on it. My question is the activation of the local currency. If after we activate the local currency, will it be possible for the Lumi we have to be converted into that local currency? That's my question. In the other talk, we should have given our allow Emmanuel to give the news. Thank you.
You should have given what? I didn't hear that last statement.
You have said the other news, how I would allow Emmanuel Newton to give.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we take Emmanuel before we respond, or we can respond to the first question?
No, you can take Emmanuel before you respond.
Okay, go ahead. All right. Emmanuel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Ombi, and greetings, everyone. Greetings, Dr. Lanos. It is a pleasure again being here.
Greetings. How's Liberia today?
Yeah, we are doing very fine. At least today
Great.
we are, as a team, we have been up and down.
Mm.
You, myself, and few other persons, as
Mhm.
it relates to the issue of the financial institution. So today we were able to reach to one of the financial institutions. Through the directive of the ambassador, he pays a direct call there so that we could meet the manager for international banking. So we discussed it about the looming and the processes, and he was interested and he wanted to know more. So the best we could do was to get his contact details and his email, in short, his scorecard, so that we could share with the team. And you guys can pick it up from there for further details. So
Exactly.
we have done that, and we hope that there'll be a little bit of proactiveness as it relates to that, because the our boss, who is really spearheading us here,
Yeah.
he was very clear about that we should try to see how best, because he doesn't like to place in calls on things and then it doesn't work out the way
Yeah.
he explains it to the person, and things like that. So he
Yeah.
urged us that we should see how best we can bring it out to the team, you and Dr. Lanos, to see how you can pick it up from there, so that we can start working on grounds here. And another
Fantastic.
thing, and another thing he said was that once the discussion starts with the financial institution, maybe in a week or two, he has another connection with another bank, and but let's see how the first one goes, so that he can know what to do next. Yes,
Great.
but today we have been up and down, and working on these things. And also I asked few questions.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I asked few
I've
questions.
seen the questions. I've seen
Yeah.
the questions. So just don't worry. We will come back to you. In fact, Dr. Linus and I were saying that we possibly would have a meeting with you guys in Liberia tomorrow. Um, so are you done, Emmanuel, just so that we can just
Yes.
react to you?
Yes. So far,
Okay.
so good. That was what we did today.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing we're putting together now now is the office. We are trying to do some cleaning up.
Yeah.
And and some
So
setup. That's
before
all.
you don't go into it. So what I just want to take an opportunity, right? I think this is on behalf of Dr. Linus and myself to really congratulate the team in Liberia, because over the last, I would say probably 1 month and a half, they have been unrelenting in what they are doing to make sure that the structures in Liberia are in place. They've done quite a lot of things, to the extent that they even have a physical office. And today, for them to announce that they even got to sit down with a bank and they would share the details of the bank so that we can engage with the bank, is another milestone in just a very, very short space of time. And that's the kind of leadership that we have been encouraging in this community. And um, we are seeing that emerge in so many ways in different countries, which is fantastic, because this continent needs every one of us to come together, put our differences aside, and focus on the business of the day, which is the transformation of the lives of our people and providing access into the new digital economy. So I am just saying this to really congratulate you guys in Liberia, Emmanuel, Jude, and even the main leader from the ambassador in Liberia, who is putting the how do I put it, putting the wind behind the sails of the other leaders to make sure that they do what they need to do to get the process going in Liberia. As soon as we get the details of the leaders of the bank, one of the things, so equally, yesterday, we also got confirmation that the guys in Burundi have also made headway with EcoBank in Burundi. And they send the details. We are also going to engage with EcoBank Burundi because the leaders on the ground are also unrelenting. They are pushing and making sure, looking at all the angles, making sure that the local structures are in place for these things to happen. And, in the morning yesterday, just so that everyone understands, the leaders even went ahead and they were, having all kinds of meetings with the bank and then sending me questions. And I said to them is, what you need to do at the local level is get us a meeting. Because to articulate the model that would make sense in the local market with a bank is really going to be difficult for any of the members if you do not understand how the setup of a bank on the system is executed. So for us just to get the meeting and get into a conversation, it opens up the door of that bank because we get them to understand how the processes are set up. Dr. Linus, I don't know whether you have something to say around this before we get into responding to Jude's question. I'm sure your mic is off.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. No, that is excellent. I will just concur on what you've just said, that is the kind of collaboration that we need. It is absolutely the kind of collaboration we need. When we all think about it, we can think about the simple things that are happening around us. Like night falls and the sun rises in the morning. It happens all the time, happens every day. It's done for thousands of years, and it will continue to happen like that for thousands of years more. We can't complain about the seasons. If it's too cold, you get a coat. If it's too hot, okay, you find an air-conditioned space. Life is a bit like that. In our world, we know the reality of what is happening around us. We have to take action in order to solve the problem. That is still around us, it means we need to take action to solve it. If we don't take action, it will remain with us for thousands more years to come. What is very clear to us right now, and nobody on this forum needs to look look far away, is that we have over 1.7 billion people around the world who are suffering from exclusion. We have our brothers and sisters amongst the 54 countries within continental Africa who do not have access. It has been like that for as long as some of us have been alive. We have to do something about it. If we don't, we will leave the problem to the next generation. And if they don't solve it, then they will pass it on to the next generation. That's why collectively, we have to put our heads, our minds, our energies, our intellect together to solve it. And at the very least, build a kind of foundation that the future generation can build on. It has to be selfless. It has to be with some significant sacrifice, both at a personal level and at community level. So let's not relent. There is one thing, though, which we have, which is unique, which doesn't exist anywhere else. We can say that with confidence, and that is our social income model. If you have been receiving distributions in Lumi, just brace yourself. when the local currencies opened up, as we find partners in different markets, it will be exactly the same experience. And we want that to be the thing that binds every member of the community to this ecosystem, so that it is rewarding to be part of it and to continue to promote it to the extent that we can. Over the coming days, we will look at some tangible numbers in some areas. Just watch out for that. So let's keep the collaboration going and let's keep the momentum alive. My brothers and sisters, that is the only choice we have. What else can we do? Sit back and do nothing and watch the problem carry on for yet more generations after us? No, let's fix it while we can. And we are very confident that we have the right tools, the right spirit across the community to get it done. Let's get it done. It may take time, but a step at a time, a day at a time, we will get there. We will achieve inclusive access for all and the use of a common instrument for exchanging value, and not just exchanging value, but doing so in real time. That is unprecedented. And we are there. We are there. Thank you. And thanks for the great work that continues all around us. It's a movement like no other. Let's not relent. Let's keep going. Now, on that note, Brother B, if I may be permitted, I'd like to add one comment. I got a message from somebody yesterday, and he said he sent me a posting of some negative news that they came across. And he said they keep getting confronted by these messages. I said, well, that's like the sun coming out in the morning. It's like the rain falling. It's like a storm coming to pass. It is noise. One of the things we must never lose sight of is that our focus is squarely fixed on resolving two problems: delivering inclusive access and ensuring we have a common instrument of exchanging value. Anything else beyond that is a distraction. We should not take our gaze off solving the problem at hand, because that's what we are gathered to solve. Let's keep our focus and our gaze on solving those two problems so that we can create the impactful ecosystem that can really bring about real economic participation and transformation for everybody. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think, let me just segue into Jude's question. So, the question Jude is asking is a question that we also got today. In fact, Dr. Linus and I were busy with something, and then we got one of the leaders who called to ask this question. When we integrate with when we have the local currency implemented for a specific country, would it mean that the lumi will be interchangeable with the local currency in that country? The first thing that we want everyone to be aware of is that we want currencies to operate parallel to each other for a start. It's like going to explain something that it's meant to be understood by a child who is in high school to a child who is in the primary school. What do? You start reducing the gap of understanding from both sides. Taking the child from primary school and raising their knowledge to the extent that they would understand what they are meant, what you want them to understand in the high school, in high school. So what we have set out on this journey of the local currency implementation to have the Lumi and the local currency to run concurrently and parallel to each other within the system, so that in cases where you need to make payments in the local currency, you can use the same system to make payments in the local currency. In a situation where you have someone who wants to accept the Lumi as part payment for an item or a service within the local market, you have all of the tools available to you in one place. What will subsequently happen is that there's going to be a push and a pull effect between the Lumi and the local currency as the more people are using, the more people are interacting in the system and using the two currencies. The ability to become interchangeable is there in the system, but we are not making it available at this point until we are able to see the traction on both sides. When we see the traction on both sides, even the financial institutions would want to play on the Lumi side to help the community to be able to exchange the value in either the local currency or in local. Make no mistake, the thing about always thinking that you'll be able just to move the Lumi into the local currency and move the local currency into the Lumi is just going to happen instantly. It's a process. And we want to take it step by step so that we don't lose anyone, so that we don't lose the step-by-step knowledge that you have taken to understand the Lumi for the institutions that will come on board and be partners in this movement. Dr. Linus, I don't know if you have,
that is
something.
Yes, that is actually spot on, Brother Mb. And I would also like to add the following, that and sometimes we use these very simple analogies not to dumb down the understanding, but to illustrate the practical points. And I would use this example. If you have somebody with a restaurant who goes and buys a bag of rice, then it's because they know that when they come and cook that bag of rice, they will transform it into a plate of food that somebody will come and pay more money for, which will allow them to make a profit. Now, most of us think that banks are there just to handle money. No, banks are there to sell currencies. They sell money. That's their business. It is no different to a restaurant which would stock rice and expect to mark up the price so they can make a profit by adding value to the rice by actually cooking it or whatever it is. Now, if you go to a bank, you need to ask yourself, if I go to my bank and I say, hey, I have Lumi and I want you to take the Lumi from me and give me the local currency, the question that you have to ask yourself is, how would the bank make a profit from the Lumi that they are buying from you? It is no different from a shopkeeper going down to a wholesaler and saying, can I have a box of sugar? So that when I take the box of sugar back to my shop, I can retail it to individual smaller boxes and make a profit. The bank is looking at it in exactly the same way. If I buy this Lumi from you, who am I going to sell it to at a higher price so that I can make a profit? It's about business. It's about capital and wealth creation. Now, we need to then stop for a moment and say that in the case of the restaurant, the restaurant owner already has a mechanism where they can go to their local market and they can carry that bag of rice and bring it to their place of business. But what about a bank? If you really wanted to be able to sell your Lumi to a bank, how would you deliver the Lumi to the bank? You first of all need to onboard the bank into the ecosystem where Lumi can be exchanged so that the bank has a way of receiving Lumi and has a way of delivering a local currency to you in the same ecosystem. So you see that providing the conduit and the possibility for the bank to become part of the ecosystem where they can receive Lumi just like you and I, that is actually the first step in the wrong. If you want to look at it as a ladder. So now that the bank can receive Lumi, okay, they have a choice. Will they actually take delivery of it in exchange for the local currency? The question is, it is not you and I who have to convince the bank to do that. It is the profit that the bank thinks they will make when they take that particular step. Because just like the restaurant owner or the shopkeeper would not buy a bag of rice and keep it on their shelves for a long time, the bank would never take on Lumi and keep it on their shelves for a long time, because they're not in the business of keeping Lumi for the sake of it. No, that's not their business. They are in the business of making money and selling digital assets and currencies. So the first step, we bring them into the ecosystem so they should be able to take delivery of it. Now, once they can take delivery of it, we need to show them how they can make a profit from it. Once they can see that they can make a profit, and for example, they have a lot of customers queuing up at their bank and asking for Lumi, that is what is going to make the bank wake up and say, but what is this Lumi that everyone is asking for? I better start keeping it so that when those customers come and ask for it, I can sell it to them and make a profit. That is what is going to get the bank to start the conversion process. It's not me, it's not Brother B, it's actually not any one of us individually. That is something that we have the power to control as a community. For example, take the 200 million people in Nigeria. If everyone from tomorrow starts going to their local bank and saying, I want Lumi so that I can buy something in South Africa and Sierra Leone and Malawi and Egypt and Ghana, the banks will wake up. They will pay attention. They will say, but what is this Lumi that everyone is coming and asking for? I better start keeping some. And they start looking around and saying, but how do I get it? All my customers want it. So that's how it works. That is the magic. We have the powers to let that unfold in front of our eyes. But the only way to do it is to get involved every day. And if you want your bank to start stocking Lumi, go ask them every day, I want Lumi. Here is my local currency. I want to buy it now. Where is it? Unless we can show the banks and the financial institutions that there is demand for the Lumi, they will never wake up in the morning one day and decide to start stocking it. So there are things we can do as a community to force the agenda, to force the market. And so why is the local currency implementation important? It's because within the community itself, we now want to create a mechanism where I have my Lumi, I have my local currency, Brother B has his Lumi, he has his local currency. We know that within our system, people can exchange value in real time. So Brother B and I say, well, I want some South African Rand, but I have some Lumi. And he says, I have some South African Rand, and I am happy to sell it to you for Lumi. and we do a quick exchange in real time. Whether we are in the same place or we are in remote locations, we can make that happen by some kind of private arrangement. That's how business would work. But once the banks realize they can make profit from that kind of exchange, then they become the de facto place that we can all go and buy and sell our Lumi. That's how it will work. So the simple implementation of a local currency will not force that to happen. It's just a tool, another tool that we have to use daily in order to force the agenda and to force particular institutions and businesses to come on board and start trading it. And oftentimes, we all talk about the banks. What about the private individual businesses that have the liquidity to trade? They can do that too. It's not just the banks. What about the local businesses that collect physical cash at their business premises and they just don't want to make that trip to the bank to bank it? They might want to use that cash to enable people who want to access that cash to do it in somehow, whether by paying the local currency for it or paying the Lumi for it. Then suddenly you have a restaurant that potentially you would come there and just buy your meal. If that restaurant has excess cash and they don't want to go to the bank, they can actually sell that physical cash to you in electronic form in exchange for a direct deposit into your account. So we want to create that kind of dynamic ecosystem which causes individuals, businesses, states, governments, and other institutions to actually come on board and participate so that we can drive trade and real-time exchange of value in ways that we have not imagined before. So I hope that long explanation addresses the question that was asked. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Linus. In fact, I shared this story with Dr. Linus some time ago. This is just an anecdote, and it's actually an incident that took place here in South Africa. And Dr. Linus has used the example that as we keep building the ecosystem, we keep building, expanding our membership on the ground across countries. That is the power that we would use to force any institution to want to participate in the movement and to facilitate the movement from Lumi to Fiat and from Fiat to Lumi. So the anecdote is that there's a drinks company here in South Africa that tried to get their drinks on the shelves in some of the big retailers in South Africa, and they couldn't get it. And all the big retailers kept rejecting them, they kept pushing them around and all of that. So what did they do? They decided to hire a large number of salespeople. And these salespeople had only one mission: to go into some of the big retailers every day and ask for that drink. They knew the drink was not on the shelf. They knew the shops were not accepting the drinks on the shelf. And they kept going to the big retailers and saying, "We want this drink. Why don't you guys stock it? We want this drink. Why don't you guys stock it?" And the word got around. And the big retailers started saying, "But which drink is this? Maybe we should put a crate and see what happens." They put the first crate, and those same salespeople went in and bought those crates in a snap. And the retailers now increased. They went and said, "No, not one crate." The thing got finished very quickly because people kept coming back to ask. And that was their sales strategy. And today, that drink is in every retailer's shelf as we speak. So the power really is in our hands. Where, how the exchange or the fluidity between the Lumi and the local currency on the system will be applied, because the possibility to do that is already in the system. We just have to keep them side by side and demonstrate the ability for them to be able to work together with every currency on the planet. So, I think that should, this long explanation, it's very, very necessary, because as we go into these implementations, everybody has to know what the game is. Every one of our members needs to know what the game is. Let's not neglect the power we have, which is our numbers in every local market, in every local community, and trading and transacting amongst ourselves. And by the way, whether we like it or not, we are using our local currency today. Why not use the tool you have, and use your local currency, but subsequently create the possibility of the use and exchange of the Lumi that you also have. That's left to us. The next person we are going to take is Derek Peter.
Yeah, Brother B, before we bring the next question in, let me just add something to the point you made there. On the one hand, we know that today there is exclusion. I mean, in the sense that within many countries within continental Africa, up to 91% of people don't have a bank card. We know that. We have our brothers and sisters who come and testify this to us on a daily basis. And so we introduced the digital POS, for example, where you don't need a card, you don't need a phone, you just need to know your SWIFT ID and your password. And you can actually go in there and make a payment. So instantly, we already have a tool that can eliminate the exclusion of that 91% of people who today are not able to participate in a digital way using their own local currency. The simple dPOS solves that problem immediately for the vast majority of them. And then you take a step ahead and say, but if we include this 91% of people in every country, they still cannot trade with their neighboring country in their local currency. The only instrument they have to do that is the Lumi. Then you realize the power combined of enabling the local currency to work side by side with the Lumi, using the tools that deliver access into every household to be able to transact in real time, wherever they are at any one time. Then you realize that that ecosystem actually doesn't exist yet, but we have it. When I say it doesn't exist yet, it exists in Switzerland. It exists among this community. We have it. So the question is, how are we going to use it to good effect in order to deliver the kind of results that we want in our day-to-day interactive exchange of value with each other, both with our neighbors, our country folk, and people within the common market of continental Africa and its diaspora? That power is in our hands. And we can either continue to doubt that it's there in our hands, or we can use it and watch what happens or how that unfolds in front of our own eyes to empower a generation like no other tool that we have come across before. So, thank you.
you know, while you are saying that, I am actually looking for a very short video that I watched, I think it was yesterday on LinkedIn, and it captures this so exactly. I found it. Okay, I'm going to share it. It's less than 1 minute. Yeah, less than 1 minute. And it's from a real thinker on this continent that I admire quite much. Let me share my screen. And I really crave your indulgence to listen to him. There is no way, you know, the status quo can be maintained. These things have to change. There is no way we can sit and carry on in the same fashion. And we think that, you know, the local currencies we have, the central banks we have are so sophisticated, and they actually, you know, it's. Can you see my screen, Dr. Linus? I wanted to share this with you even in the afternoon and I forgot. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I really want everyone. So I really want everyone to listen to it.
The voice is not coming out.
Can you hear?
Mozambique, I can't hear the voice. Can everyone hear the voice?
No audio.
No audio.
No audio at all.
Okay, just give me 1 moment. Let me fix the audio. Just 1 moment. Dr. Linus, you can carry it. Just 1 moment.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I mean, what Mozambique said there is we definitely cannot just carry on as though it's business as usual when we have real challenges ahead of us and problems that need to be solved in order to emancipate and bring about economic participation and emancipation of millions of people. I mean, it is such a worthy cause that nothing beats it to change the status quo. Why should it be the same? Why should the wealthiest continent on earth contain the poorest people just because they don't have access to participate in building their economy like everyone else? Why should we settle for that?
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? I don't know why the audio isn't coming out.
Mozambique, do you want to send it to me perhaps on WhatsApp, and I can give it a shot and try to play it on I'm using my phone.
Let's see. I don't know if I can. It's on LinkedIn. I actually saw it on LinkedIn.
Do you have the link? Can you copy the link? It might ask me to log into LinkedIn.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can get it from LinkedIn.
If it's on YouTube, then it might be easier to just play it from YouTube.
No, it's on TikTok.
It's on
TikTok.
It's
a TikTok video.
Okay.
Just hold on. TikTok video. I can see the TikTok on the side, but I'm not sure why the audio is not. Let me try again. Can you hear me?
When you are sharing your screen, I think there is a little tick box on the bottom left where you have to tick to share audio. Try and do
Where is that?
When you just click on share screen, on the bottom left corner, there should be a tick box which says share audio.
Yeah, I know that.
Can you see it?
Just hold on. Multiple participants can share. Advanced options. Okay.
Alternatively, if you have the link, or you can capture the link, you can send me the link and I'll try and see if I can play it.
Try whether the internal microphone would work. Are you using
headsets? Are you using headsets?
No, I've taken off the headset so that it should play.
All right, give it another shot. Try it again. Let's see.
Let's see. It's a very short video, but very powerful. Can you hear?
You're not sharing your screen now.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let me see if I share just the window. If it's going to, let me see if I can just share just the window and go to that specific window and see if it's going to play.
Also, if you look on the far right, on the bottom, Brother Mb, there is a little sound icon. Click on that sound icon just to make sure that the volume is enabled.
It is.
There.
It is.
Okay, now play it. Let's see. No, we can't hear it. Copy that URL and send to me on WhatsApp. Just copy the URL to that and send to me on WhatsApp. Let me see. The volume is crossed out. I can see the volume is crossed out, Bodambi.
No, I've just got it now because it wasn't playing. The volume is crossed out. I don't know. I'll send it to you and you can try.
All right,
send it. I don't know why. That's the link.
All right, just carry on. The moment I'll just click on it and see what it asks me to do.
Michelle will just take you to that. Michelle will just take you to that specific one. Anyway, let me just take Abubakar Ahmed. Abubakar Ahmed, why Dr. Linus is looking at that link.
It was direct now.
So if I click on share my screen, and then enable the volume.
Abubakar, are you there? Okay.
Yes, Brother B, good evening.
Yes, I've been saying hello, but okay, it looks as if Dr. Linus has got. I can hear your audio, Dr. Linus.
I fly from Nairobi, Kenya.
I can hear the audio.
For 1.5 hours.
Okay, let me increase the volume.
Go to the beginning. Go to the
beginning. We are hearing now. We are hearing.
From the shilling zone, I go into I fly from Nairobi, Kenya for 1.5 hours. I come from the shilling zone. I go into the birr. 33 currencies in Africa. 33 currencies, none of which is used to conclude transactions anywhere. I come to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and I show my shilling. They say, what is this? But let me show the dollar. Oh, this is it. Let me show the euro. This is it. 80% of transactions in Africa are concluded outside of the continent in dollars. So you may have the central bank or the federal bank of Ethiopia, or Mickey Mouse. You may have the central bank of Kenya, Mickey Mouse. You may have all these 54 central banks useless. Because we are not playing in the real league, we are playing in the small league.
And that's it.
It is too ashamed for
that's-
Africa.
There's no way, there's nothing else to say. Really. You know, there is nothing else to say.
I'm sure many of us here will know that if we take our local currency anywhere else, it's treated as good as toilet paper.
It has no use.
You'd have to keep it, right? And then hope that you go back into the country where you can use it again. What is that? I mean, is that okay for us to leave it like that and just think, well, that's fine. It's been like that for hundreds of years. It's okay for it to carry on like that for another few hundred years. Or can we do something about it?
You know, I don't think there's any further explanation of that, Dr. It's just complete. It's sickening, but we just have to do what we have to do. It is sickening.
Brother B, have I stopped sharing my screen now, or can you still see my screen?
No, you've stopped sharing.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So, you know, I think the point is very clear. The point, you know, that we're making is very clear. I stumbled on that video yesterday. I've kept thinking that I was going to share it, but for some reason got too busy and I forgot. But when we got into this discussion now, I got reminded by it. Yeah, I got reminded by it. Anyway, Abubakar, my brother, what say you? Where can you use the Naira? Next door, you know, if you go to Cotonou, can you use the Naira in Seme? In Seme Market, I'm talking Seme Market, where there's no border. You know, for those who know that area, leaving Lagos into Cotonou, Benin, there is really no border. You know, there's Seme in Lagos and Seme in Cotonou, which in Benin.
Exactly.
Republic, right? And on the one side, you use the Naira. On the other side, you use the CFA.
Exactly.
You go across that border, you show your Naira, they'll say, go across the border and change it and come back.
You come back and buy your material.
Know?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I can tell you
are right.
And the place is complete. It is a huge market. It's one of the biggest markets I've ever seen.
Exactly.
But you can, as soon as you get to the section where they speak French in the Seme market, you have to use the CFA.
Even this, our neighboring state, our neighboring country, Niger, like Niger. So we have border with them around Kamba. So it's just a border. You will go. You must change your currency before you enter. Before you cross the border and buy. If you want to buy something, you must change your money.
Yeah, that's it.
This neighboring Niger.
Yeah, and same thing, right? I think some of us, we are so passionate about this because we have experienced it across so many countries, right? You live, when you are in Lomé, Togo, the border between Togo and Ghana is in the middle of the city in Lomé. Like you are already in a country, then you get to the middle of the city and then they say, oh, this is a border post. And on this side, you use the CD, you literally walk to get to the other side, and it's the CFA. You can't use your CD on this side, you can't use your CFA on this side. What nonsense is that?
Brother B, the other staggering irony is this, right? If you take the countries within the franc CFA zone, they are required to keep 50% of their reserves in an operating account with the French Central Bank.
French Central Bank.
But you cannot take the same CFA and take it even to francs, where France is keeping 50% of their reserves, and change it. They will not accept it.
Let me tell you, I have a friend who lives in Paris. He took the CFA. He is one of the Pan-African revolutionaries. He took the CFA into the French Central Bank in Paris and said he wants it to be changed. And they refused. And he also refused to leave and started a whole ruckus there. Started a whole, and it was a big viral video. It's a friend of mine, right? The point literally is that we have to take our responsibilities. We have to take the future of this continent in our hands and do with it what we want to see. We cannot keep complaining. We cannot keep saying that, oh no, if I go across here, if I go across there. Let's be using what we have. Let's create a movement that is using what we have created. We determine the future of it and not anyone else.
I was in Cameroon recently, as you know, and I had some spare change, franc CFA, which I had on me after paying my taxis at the airport. And so I brought it with me. The only time I will ever be able to use it is if I go back to Cameroon.
Or you go back into another safer country.
Or into another safer country, right? Otherwise, it's as good as toilet paper in my house.
I have currencies probably of maybe 35, 40 countries in my house. Coins, paper, and all of it. Maybe 6, 7, 8 years even. But I have it with me. I can't do anything with it. I can't do anything with it. I think let's move past this point and get to the close of this session today. I think let's just take the 3 hands that are up and then we can bring it to a close. Abubakar, let's be a bit quick. Abubakar, your mic is off. Abubakar, your mic is off.
Yes, Mbavi, no problem. Just go to next, no problem.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Abubakar. Okay, so the next person is Garrett Peter. Are you there? Your mic is off. Please open.
Good evening, Brother B and Dr. Linus.
Yes.
In fact, sorry to always ask questions that you may have discussed it long ago. Yeah. I was trying to tell you that I was cut short since last year. My problem up to now is about the mailbox. Up to now, I don't know how to do it for myself. I
No,
only
so-
have those
So
email.
if
The
you have
email
not,
I was
no, we
sending you.
spoke the other day, Direct. I just need to clarify something. If
Yeah.
you have, we would share with you how you can buy your own Swift mailbox to avoid the issues you are having. Because when we went into to look at what the issue was the last time, we realized you don't have a Swift mailbox. Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
we would show you how
Yes,
you
sir.
would
Yes.
acquire your own Swift mailbox. I think we are just
It's
cleaning
okay,
up
sir.
something. We are cleaning up something on the
Yes, sir.
purchase process. I think tomorrow we will show you
Yes.
once we are done with that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Perfect.
It's okay, sir.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. My another question. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. I said
Go ahead.
on the issue you have talked about. In fact, I said on the issue, the video you have shown. In fact, I even have the video yesterday, and I was just saying, "Kai, this thing has happened like this, and this is the problem that has since long been here. And you guys have a good vision for the continent at large. Please just keep focusing and do the best for us. Because by watching this video, I was challenged yesterday myself when I look at it at the YouTube. So please, we pray that this thing will come to stand in Jesus' name."
From your mouth to God's ear, my dear brother, because if we don't get this right, I am still wondering how this continent is going to look like in the next 20 years. What am I even saying? 10 years. I am worried. I am very worried. This continent and its diaspora, I am worried. Teda King.
Yes, thank you very much, Brother Ambi. I just want to congratulate the leaders for all that they have been doing in, making sure that the continent is taken care of. It may take some years, but at least you'll do your part now, and then whoever comes afterwards will do theirs. So thank you very much for all you're doing. My quick question is, I know some time ago we were having problems with the KYC, and the support team said that they had quite a backlog. So I was just trying to get an update if they are, on top of things now, or they still have backlog.
Yes, they are, but we are still giving priority to people who are doing transactions from account to transact, even though they are also cleaning up and going through the KYC. There is a real backlog there, but they are cleaning it very, very fast. In fact, I was speaking to Sister Lumba day before yesterday, who is the head of transactions for all the global platforms. And she was saying that the team is actually pushing it. And I took a look yesterday, and they have dealt with it quite considerably. So progressively over the next few weeks, I'm sure that we would get to a good place.
The idea had came up some time ago that we probably could put a pending on it so that people don't think that nothing is being done. I don't know, Dr. Lunis, if anything was able to be created.
So there's a way that you know that your KYC is still pending.
Right.
When you open the transact, you would see the link on top which still says submit. When it says submit, when you've already submitted, you know that it's still pending. Because once the KYC is done, that link disappears. We have showed it before. So when you open your account, you look on top, you would see submit KYC, and it's showing you where to click. If you go to click even when you have submitted, it will show you that you have already submitted. So we have said, as long as that link is still there, know that the KYC has not been dealt with. Once it's dealt with, that link will disappear.
Okay.
Yes.
One last question. Is Sister Pauline on an extended vacation? We haven't heard her for a little
No,
while.
it's not a vacation. She will share with the group what has happened. She was doing some adjustments to her stay, and she's just trying to get herself sorted out and get all her connections in place and all of that. She is going to be back.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Venom, you are the last this evening.
Yes, greetings everyone. Thank you, Dr. Linus. I have about 2 questions, but before that, I must commend you guys on the progress that have been made on the platform so far. All right, I know that we can at this point trade among ourselves in the local market and thing, but the irony of trading at this point is that we get most of our stuff, most of our goods from the international market. So if we should sell out everything that we have, trade everything that we have in the Lumi at this point, and when we are to replace it with goods, unless the international market, Lumi is being accepted on the international market, then you just be stuck with Lumi in our wallet and not being able to replace or replenish our goods that we have. So that's the irony at this point. Until the Lumi is being accepted internationally, then we won't be able to do as well. But as I said, we have been making progress, so we're just hoping that it will continue. And also until we can go, I think one of our biggest setbacks is that we have so many currencies and none of the bank, if you should go into the bank and you should look at the dashboard, the display, there's nothing there to show where they are trading. They are trading in any currency in Africa. All right, so I said that's the irony. So until we get there, we'll be having a big challenge. All right, but we have been making progress so far. All right, so I don't know if you have seen, I purchased a mailbox, the Mega. I saw where it was successful, where the process was successful. So Dr. Linus, can you say if everything is all right, if I did everything correctly?
You did everything correctly, Brother Vernon. So just check your mailbox. You already have a spreadsheet where you can populate with the 100 names. Just follow the instructions on that sheet. And just rest and relax. That sheet is available also to the processing team. The transactions team have access to it. So the moment you put the names there, they will create those mailbox for you and you'll be able to see the username and password automatically, and you can allocate those to the members or those that you have sold them to. Just check your email, please. And check both your Gmail account and also your Swift inbox for the link. Okay.
All right, I'll do that. All right, another question. For those of us who are registering new members, I know we'll be getting paid, we'll get paid directly once we do it through our broker system. But what I want to know is how soon the amount that we will get for registering one person, and then how soon it will be, and what was the criteria. Will we have to create both the transact, the connect, and the Swift before we get paid for the members that we should register?
Brother B, do you want to explain that?
And also the amount. Because members have been asking and I need to be able so I can explain to them.
Brother B, the reason I want Brother B to explain is because we're having this conversation earlier on with the team in Senegal.
Sorry. I was late. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We were having it not in this session, but earlier in an earlier meeting.
Okay, good.
Do we still have Brother B online? Okay, it's possible that he may have lost power and got disconnected.
Okay.
Anyway, there is a social income model that is built into Swift account. It's only built into the Swift account. So
Yes.
when you register somebody under your brokerage section,
Yes.
then that person becomes automatically assigned to you.
Yes.
Now, that person, when they do a transaction or they receive a Lumi stimulus and a fee is charged, you will receive 16% of that fee. It is automatic, but it
Okay.
is transaction based.
Okay.
So if you have registered somebody recently,
Yes.
the next time they receive a stimulus payment, you will see a payment in your account.
Okay.
The next time they use their account to make a payment, you will see a payment in your account.
Okay.
The way that it works is that you get T1 for people you register directly.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, you went out and you registered 10 people.
Yes.
I'm going to use round numbers just to make
Okay.
the example very
Okay.
clear.
Okay. Okay.
So if your T1 commission is 1 Lumi and you register 10 people, when each of those 10 people do a transaction, you will get 1 Lumi each. So you will get 10 Lumi.
Okay.
But if those 10 people go and register 10 more people, then that is 100 people.
Yes.
And for each of those 100 people, when they do transactions, you will receive half of 1 Lumi, which is 50 cents, 50 Lumi cents.
Okay.
Now, if you multiply 50 Lumi cents by 100, that actually gives you 50. So from 10 to 50, you get a jump in T2.
Okay. Okay.
Now, if you imagine that the 100 people that you registered went into the community and they registered 10 people each, you get 1,000 people. And for those 1,000 people, you will get 0.25 Lumi each from each one of them when they all do a transaction. That gives you 2,500 Lumi. Okay. So most people think that they can just have their own account and they can wait to receive their 6.26 Lumi per month. Well, if you do that, you're losing out because there's quite a vast opportunity for you to actually generate thousands more every month in terms of the social income distribution model. Many people here are already aware of that, and many people here can open their account and see those T1, T2, T3, T4, and T5 commissions flowing in. We are going to do the same for every local currency implementation. It will use exactly the same social income model, same engine, same automated implementation. So just keep your eyes open and watch the space.
All right. Does the same principle apply to that? Say I register one person, and the person that I register went and registered someone else through his or her broker system. Does the same principle apply?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So when you register one person, you get T1. That person goes and registers somebody else, you get T2. And that person they registered goes and registers somebody else, you get T3. Even if you don't know the people who are generating T2, T3, T4, and T5 for you, you don't have to know them.
Okay. All right. So that's the same way it will work for Jamaica Lumineer. Like all of us, we are registering through Jamaica Lumineer. So the same principle will go towards Jamaica.
Same principle applies. It is already working for those who are registered. Just check your account and you will see the inflows for T1, T2, T3, T4, and T5.
And T3. Okay. Yes, I heard you mention it some time ago, but I'm just understanding the process of T1, T4, and T3. Okay.
All right.
I was also this question to pass it on to you. Someone is asking about if you have a website, and if you should purchase something or sell something from a website, if you can use the same I'm trying to remember that's the thing at the top of the red box, the one that was introduced yesterday, point of sale, POS.
Yes.
Right, the same POS will be applied, point of sale.
Yeah, the dPOS is for collecting payments face to face with people,
Yes.
so that they don't need to have a card, they don't need to have a phone. You can just enter their name, then they enter their password, and they pay you. It's actually quite neat.
Okay, I assume that whoever have that website would have to also be a member of SUFIN, would have to have a SUFIN account in order to participate.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem. So everybody has to be part of the open transaction ecosystem to benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all for now.
Thank you. All right. I think we have that may well be the last question from Brother Vernon. So I would suggest we bring this to a close and look forward to the session tomorrow. It would appear we have lost Brother B. Brother B, are you there?
Apparently, he's no longer with us.
Oh, Brother Elad, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dr. Linus?
Very good. I hadn't noticed you there. Do you have any remark? I can see we have Sister Audrey Grant. We have Brother Elad there. Brother Elad is responsible for our country structures. He's doing a fantastic job. Sister Audrey, these are the people who are working behind the scenes to make it all happen, so you get the support you need when you need it, and also helping to address issues within the transactions team. Who else is if I've missed anybody else, please forgive me. But we have a very large and growing team that is working tirelessly in the background to make sure that everything is smooth. And I just want everyone to know that our efforts really would not, we wouldn't have the same level of success without the team that is working very tirelessly in the background, and the work that is being done by independent country structures wherever they are, like the testimony that was given earlier on, both from people in Burundi, in Liberia, in Senegal, and all that. And of course, we all know what has been going on in Jamaica. It is a movement like no other. The team in Kenya is building up. I know Sister Emma is very much involved in that, and many other people from Kenya. Nigeria, of course, that's coming on. And it is exciting and very, very promising. So we have to do this. We have to find the solutions to solve our problems. We can't sit back and hope that those problems will go away. They never will. They haven't done for thousands of years. If we don't do anything about them, they will carry on being in our midst for another 1,000 years and more. So it is our choice to do something about it, to change it, and give the future generation a better chance of building on it. Let's do the little we can while we can, so that the future generation can build on it and make it better, so that we can leave a world behind us that is better for the good of humanity than what we inherited when we came into it. On that note, I'd like to wish everyone a very good night and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for our daily briefing on Friday, same time. Thank you very much and good night.
Good night, Dr. Linus.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Linus.
Thank you. Good night,
Everyone.
Good night, Sir Ella.
We lose Chimaya in Zambia.
Good night, everyone.
Emma in Kenya. We lose Brother Samuel in Kenya. Brother Samuel in I was trying to
Good night, everyone.
Nana Jude in Nigeria, Adatret Patrick in Nigeria. Thank you all, guys. Tara King in South Africa. So welcome developers. Let's continue the good work. Our number one enemy is poverty. And the tool to eradicate poverty is at our disposal. And that's the let's get it working for us, and let's get things happening. Good night to all.
Good night, sir.
Blessing to be in your meeting. Good night.
Sabwe from Nigeria.
Yes.
Waiting to hear from you.
Thank you for your support, Brother Elad.
Thank you, Sister Emma.
Thank you for your support, Brother Elat, direct from Nigeria. Good night.
Oh, thank you, my brother.
Innocent Paul from Nigeria.
Sir, Brother Elas, I may like to chat with you later.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right.
No man musiwa. I suppose is in same.
Bonne soirée, bonne nuit. Bonne soirée, bonne nuit.
Innocent Paul from Nigeria.
Innocent Paul from Nigeria. Yes, I recognize you. Thank you so much. Thank you, brothers. Let's keep the momentum. Let's pray.
Good night, Brother Elas.
Salome.
That's Nigeria.
Thank you from Nigeria. Brilliant.